Hello YouTube fam, how y'all doing? It's your Uncle Tim. This is Uncle Tim Rants and Reviews, the channel where I rant and I review. I'm your host, Uncle Tim. Fam, I was going through toy withdrawal. Dude, I hadn't bought a toy in a minute. I was just going withdrawal. I was going through the motions. Dude, it felt like, I was just shaking, missing opening boxes and picking up stuff and, showing it, man. Just, opening a box, placing the toy on a shelf, whatever, playing with it for a while, Withdrawal is a real thing when it comes to collecting, man. If you used to buying stuff all the time and all of a sudden you're not buying anything anymore, it gets different for you. Your body goes through the reactions because you already went through the motions already. You sitting here looking and you know what it felt like to actually buy stuff and, and all of a sudden you ain't buying nothing. It just makes you feel some kind of way because you like, man, I remember I was buying this, I was buying that. But you remember why you was buying it, Before, a lot of stuff was more forthcoming. I was able to find stuff in stores and, things like that. It's not that easy anymore. Stuff is becoming harder and harder to find. I don't know, is it because of resellers around here, other collectors? But, my Targets and Walmarts and GameStops are not plentiful like everybody else's. Man's doesn't bear fruit like everybody else's. I have Sanchi who sends a lot of stuff to the channel that I am so thankful for, man. And I don't go a day without saying thank you because, trust me, I appreciate it. Trying to find some of this stuff in the wild, man, is like finding a needle in a haystack. Dude, when you actually find something, you jump on it. Man, that Jean Grey that I seen at Target, I jumped on it so damn fast because I'm like, man, you don't see stuff like this. Yeah. The Electro for $27, I jumped on that one fast. My area, it wasn't $27. I couldn't find it. I tried to buy it when it was on sale for even a better price. With, what was it? Falcon or Captain America. What happened was they shipped it back. Didn't even reach my P.O. box. They just turned around and shipped it back. I'm like, what are we doing? Dude, this is stuff you deal with. This is the stuff, man. I like going to the post office and getting my boxes and people looking at me. You got these boxes in your hand. It makes you feel good sometimes, man. You got giant boxes. People like, I wonder what's in those damn boxes. And dude, sometimes it do make you feel good. Collecting is a dopamine hit, man. It's like drugs. It's like lightning in a bottle, bro. You want to get that same feeling you got the first time that you bought something. And guess what? Sometimes you actually get those feelings. Sometimes you get that back. Sometimes you get those urges, just to buy some shit and be like, man, I suffer the consequences later, man. I just want it now and I just, just deal with it later. Dude, I did that with a game console a long time ago. Was the console worth buying? Hell yeah. I enjoyed the hell out of it, but guess what? That was a lot of money to just pluck out. Bro, sometimes you do that stuff because, that's who you are. I'm a collector. But, at certain points, it's like an addiction, bro. It is. Sometimes it's like you fighting that battle, bro. People don't understand that plastic crack is a motherfucker, bro. All you need is a pipe. And bro, trust me, you'll be over here doing dope. Man, it's real. People make it seem like it's some sort of joke. Like, you in here, you just buying stuff to be buying it, man. You don't even know what you got. You know what you got. You know what line this is, people were tripping out on me at one point in time because I was calling My Hero Academia something else. I was calling academia another word, and people was like, oh, that ain't the word. Bro, sometimes you don't know every word. Sometimes you don't know. But you're supposed to know how to say the name correctly. When you collect the stuff you like. You don't have to know every character, every iteration of the character, what mode it is. No, that's Super Saiyan 19. No, see, you don't even know the difference between Super Saiyan 19 and Super Saiyan number 5. Bro, you out here right now just collecting and having a good time with it. Talking it through with other people, letting them know what it is that you buying, and you feeling it. You like, man, it feel like you won something sometimes when you find that one piece. When I found this, man, And mind you, later on after that, I seen it every damn where else. When I seen it at GameStop, man, I was so happy I found it, man. I snatched it up. I thought they were looking at me like, damn, that must be a really valuable figure. And come to find out, you were able to find that one figure every damn where else. But guess what? I hadn't seen that figure. And man, I had been looking for a while. And when you looking for a while, man, and you can't find nothing, guess what? You get tired. You get a little frustrated. You get a little upset. And guess what? You go about it like that. You gotta make it work. Man, that's what I've been sitting here doing. Man, the hobby is taking on a life of its own, man, because it's like the energy that you put in is sometimes the energy you get out of it. You know, you sitting in a nice, comfortable situation, you got your setup, you looking at your toys, you like, man, I really need this figure, that figure. I need 2 more figures to make all this work. You know what? And you sitting there thinking, how could you get these figures? You sitting there, what you got to do extra to get some of the stuff that you want. When I was into video games, bro, that's what I would do. I would buy the games before I buy the damn console. You know, before the PS2, before I even bought the PS2, I had damn near like 10 or 15 games. When I actually bought it, I had it on layaway at Kmart. And I bought it. And, you know, I had the games before I even had the system. For a lot of systems, I had the games first. Because that gave me an incentive to buy the damn console. Man, you already got something to play on it already. Bro, people don't look at it like that. That's how I look at it. When I read my comics, man, I read them because I'm like, man, this storyline connects to that storyline. And this mini-series in this book that connects with. And, you know, man, this is about one of my favorite artists. So, you know, I'm sitting here, you know, reading the book, looking at the art, man, actually enjoying myself. When I play my games, I feel the same way. When I watch my Blu-rays, I feel the same way. It's all about you winning. When I buy my shoes, I feel the same way. When I buy a certain pair of Jordans, I feel the same way. They may not be comfortable because they're not made for people with wide feet. But, again, at the end of the day, they look stylish as hell. You can't go wrong with a pair of damn Jordans. People be like, or a pair of Yeezys most of the time. You can't go wrong with the shoe, and I'm just talking about the shoe itself. It's a fun buy. It's a fun day. It's a fun time. You know, it's right now, it's okay to be a collector. You know, before it was really frowned on. You know, you got a grown man, you know, playing with toys and shit like that, and, you know, all that. You know, you over there still buying shoes. Don't you got a girlfriend? You reading comic books? Fuck, what, I can't read a book? That's the thing people don't understand. To everybody, if you're not smoking, drinking, hanging out at the clubs, you a kid. Dude, I'd rather be a kid every day then. Because that shit ain't for me. That adds no value to my life. And again, experiences are everything, but man, that experience is, I can't sell that. I can't do anything if I need money with that experience. Unless that, you know, experience of getting into that club is something. Otherwise, man, please. You know, this hobby, man, it becomes a party. You know, it's an amazing step, man. It builds character. For kids, man, it teaches them a lesson in patience, man, because that's what collecting is, patience. You're not going to be able to buy it when it first come out most of the time. Sometimes you got to wait. The waiting game is one of the best games at times because you'd be surprised how you just don't get the stuff, man, and you got to wait. You know, sometimes stuff hit Ross. I'm not waiting for it to go to Ross, but sometimes it hit and you're just happy to see it. You'd be like, I wanted this, but I couldn't spend the money on it. People don't understand that. Every dollar sometimes can be earmarked, sometimes they're not. And, you know, sometimes you just got to go without the thing that you want. You know, you'd be like, man, later on, maybe I could get it. You know, it costs $60 now. Maybe you can get it now. Oh, man, you should have bought it when it was $25. You didn't have the $25 back then. You see what I mean? But you got $60 now, and it won't hurt you. This is how it works sometimes. You know, man, collecting is just like playing numbers. And you know, the highs of opening them boxes, the dopamine hit of just, you know, being one of those people that found an item that's really hot at the time. You know, FOMO is a real thing in everything, man. You know, in life. It just makes you feel good sometimes to find something that you see a lot of toy tubers talking about, and you found one and you like, damn, man, at least I found something. That's how you feeling. I found something. That's how I feel when I buy stuff. Oh, I found it. But fam, till later, thank you for watching. Peace out.